Hi! So, today I'm going to be doing a reading of an excerpt of my upcoming novel, Magic and Sensibility, which is about, it's a compilation of fairy tales. If the people in the fairy tales made sensible human decisions, because as we all know, people in fairy tales aren't always the most sensible people. For instance, Jack sells a cow for beans. He had no guarantee that they were magic beans. And he sold a cow for beans. That one particularly drives me crazy. So I fixed that in the novel, and several other fairy tales where people make rather nonsensical decisions. And so today I'm going to be reading you one of the shorter chapters because all of the fairy tales combine together. They all take place in the same kingdom, and so there's something that's happening that's causing all the problems in fairy tales. And the novel is about the fairy tale characters making actually smart decisions to deal with the same problems that they deal with in any other retelling of the fairy tales. But so today I'm reading you the shortest chapter, I believe it's the shortest, from Magic and Sensibility, and this one is called The Three Bears Lock Their Door. So here we go. Don't mind the clicking sound of the mouse because it's gonna be there. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. So, due to the curse of an irritable and easily offended fairy who thought that they were being rude to her, a family of three was turned into a family of three bears. Sorry, I'm making edits as I go. At first, they were distraught about this fact, thinking their friends and relations would run from them in fear. However, since their voices were not taken from them, they were able to explain what had happened, and everyone treated them exactly the way they used to. Sorry. The father of the family, Greg, could still work at the mill where he used to spin thread. But now, he kept the water wheel turning by walking in a manner similar to a hamster. The wheel used to turn on its own, but with that pesky drought that still clung to the land. There's a drought going on in fairy tale land. You'll find that out if you read the book. But due to the drought that still clung to the land, the river wasn't high enough to make the wheel work. Bear power turned out to be quite useful. The mother of the family, Mardine, could also keep her job at the mill. Even with the bear paws, she could still weave fabric better than anyone else working there, and much faster, too. The only difficulty that she had so far was cooking. Neither she nor Greg could make much beyond porridge, so they ate that for quite some time. Their son, Humphrey, was still able to attend school in the nearby village after much explaining to the children and parents that he wouldn't eat them. Humphrey had thought he might face bullying, but all the other children thought it was fantastic that he was a bear, and mostly treated him like any other kid. A few adjustments had to be made to their day-to-day life, but nothing major changed for the family. Mardine and Greg were too big to fit in the same bed anymore, so they each got their own, which worked well since Greg liked a firmer mattress and Mardine preferred hers nice and squishy. And they had to get used to wearing nothing but fur, except on special occasions, for which they purchased a large suit of clothes each. Apart from those small changes, they had no other mishaps being bears. The three bears were content with their life and didn't bother to try and find a cure for their condition. They supposed if they ever got sick of eating porridge, they might need to break the spell. But in the meantime, they were happy. One lazy day, the bears decided to let their porridge cool a little bit while they went out for a walk in the nice wooded area behind their house. Pardon me. Even though they trusted everyone in their neighborhood, they still locked the doors because they weren't idiots. It was a good thing they did, too, because not 10 minutes after they'd left, someone tried to break in. It was a girl who many had seen in town. Mostly people saw her as she stole fruit from the market or shot rocks at windows with her slingshot. No one knew what family she belonged to, though further investigation would have shown that she was one of the rowdier orphans from the town orphanage. Since no one knew her name, it was Lizzie, they referred to her as Goldilocks when they were yelling at her to get lost. They called her this because she had the loveliest blonde hair that anyone had ever seen. No one claimed it was a creative nickname, but saying, "You horrid brat who steals my stuff," took too long to address her by that, and no one had time for it. Regardless of what she was called, the little girl was wandering through town and came upon the bear's house. She did a mental inventory of all the people she'd pestered in the past year, and realized she hadn't ever done anything to this house and whatever family resided there. So, she snuck up to the door and turned the knob, intent on breaking in and using and smashing their belongings. Ah, nuts! She shrugged at the locked door and walked back the way she'd come. The bears came back in a few minutes, unlocked the door, and enjoyed their porridge without ever knowing that Goldilocks had darkened their doorstep. The porridge was delicious. So that's kind of how the chapters go. Most of them have more plot than that and are much longer, but that one's one of my favorites because it just, darn, the door's locked. What you gonna do? And it's because a lot of problems in fairy tales can be solved fairly quickly if they just took normal precautions. So that's kind of what this book is about. It's everybody making normal decisions in a fairy tale setting. And yeah, there's an overarching plot for it all, and it's pretty good if I do say so myself. So I hope you check that out when it comes out. I don't have a determined date of release yet, but the plan is near the beginning of December of this year, 2018. The book will be released hopefully on Amazon, though I don't think there's any other websites that you can get it from, because I'm going to be self-publishing, and Amazon's Create Space, I believe it's called, is the easiest way that I know how to do that and make copies that everyone can purchase. And yeah, so look out for Magic and Sensibility towards the beginning of December. All right, thank you very much.